Hey everyone, welcome back to Contracts with Confidence. Today we're covering one of the most legendary cases in contract law, Lucy v. Zehmer. It's a funny story on the surface, but it lays down one of the most important principles in contract law, the objective theory of contracts. So let's dive in. Here's what happened. W.O. Lucy had been trying to buy Zehmer's farm for years. One December evening, Lucy approached Zehmer at a bar, and after a few drinks, he offered Zehmer $50,000 for the farm. This was a pretty large offer at the time, and Zehmer told Lucy there was no way he could come up with that. So, what did Zehmer do? He pulled out a piece of paper, actually the back of a bar receipt, and wrote up an agreement to sell the farm with details about title and what was included in the sale. He even convinced his reluctant wife to sign it. Lucy then gave Zehmer $5 to close the deal. But here's the twist. Lucy actually came up with the $50,000 and wanted to move forward with the deal. But Zehmer then claimed the whole thing was just a joke. He said he'd been drinking, he never intended to sell, and that Lucy knew he wasn't serious. Lucy, however, said he fully believed it was a real binding agreement. And that's how this case ended up in court. So the issue is, does a person's secret intent matter in contract formation, or is a contract enforceable if the words and actions make it look serious to a reasonable person? Well, the court applied an objective theory of contracts, which meant that it doesn't matter what your private hidden thoughts are. What matters is your words and actions that would lead a reasonable person to believe. So the court ruled in favor of Lucy. The contract to sell the farm was valid and enforceable. And here's why. First, the court found that Zehmer wasn't so intoxicated that he couldn't understand what was happening. Yes, he might have been drinking, but he wasn't out of his mind drunk. Second, from Lucy's perspective, everything about the situation looked serious. There was a written agreement, both Zehmer and his wife signed it, and the terms were clear. It talked about the title and what all would be included. The court said it didn't matter if Zehmer secretly intended it as a joke. If his words and actions showed otherwise, the law treats it as real. And so, if you think about it, if private thoughts controlled contracts, nobody could ever rely on agreements. People could just say, oh, I was kidding, or I didn't really mean it, and then walk away, which would make contracts essentially meaningless. So, Lucy v. Zehmer is a classic reminder that contracts are judged by objective intent, not subjective intent. What counts is how your actions look to a reasonable observer, not what's secretly in your mind. So, the main lesson is if you sign something, even on the back of a bar receipt, and your behavior makes it look real, a court may hold you to it. That's why Lucy v. Zehmer is one of the most cited cases in contract law. It's not just a funny story about whiskey and a farm deal, it's the foundation of how courts decide whether contracts are enforceable. So thank you for watching. If this case brief helped you out, please subscribe and check out the rest of the Contracts with Confidence playlist for more cases broken down.